A developing story that is going on right now, according to Mike Freeman of Bleacher Report. The NFL is not just scared, effing scared of President Donald Trump. And that is why the NFL has imposed its policy from today, Tom. They're playing scared.
I think a lot of that does make sense because what do we know about the NFL? They're very reactionary, and I think fearful is a good way to describe how they go about doing things, because they did not like it what happened last year when Trump called them out and called out the players and the reaction that came out after that. And I think that's the big problem for the NFL, is that this does kind of seem a little bit based on the fear of negative reaction, not just from President Donald Trump, but also I think from fan bases as well. Their biggest fears, as you know, most leagues are, viewership dropping, players not showing, or teams not or fans not showing up to the games, concession stand numbers going down, TV ratings dropping, income and money not flowing in the way that it's flown in the past. So that's the concern on that end. So I do get what this report from Bleacher Report is stating.
So, Tom, the president, of course, took to Twitter multiple times throughout the 2017 season, really pushing the narrative that he wants players standing for the national anthem. And you know what statements he's recently made about the national anthem? Actually praising NASCAR because they stand for the anthem, and really draws a comparison there to the NFL and what Trump has said about the National Football League, in that he wants players to be standing. Now, the president has not gone to Twitter just yet in terms of the latest policy across the National Football League, at least to my knowledge as we stand. And so this is a really interesting development here. How the NFL owners are so scared about their pocketbooks, Tom, that they don't want the president calling out their respective teams, because why? That will affect perhaps the audience, the stadium goers. That will in turn affect revenue, in turn will affect their own wallets. And that's what it really comes down to. This, of course, coming out of Bleacher Report and Mike Freeman, the developing story for just tuning in. The NFL is, quote, effing scared of President Donald Trump, calling them out and perhaps going through the process of bad PR and all this stuff. And now that's why they have enacted the new policy, because they want to be in the good graces of the president.
On the flip side, though, because they are trying to avoid the bad PR, I don't know if this actually eliminates bad PR in the end for the NFL, because, I mean, we got the one report of the Jets CEO saying, oh, yeah, I'll pay for all my players' fines. You had Art Rooney apparently telling the Detroit Free Press that raising a fist, linking arms, disrespects the flag, and that will be fine-worthy. I don't know if that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, I feel like, again, they went with a specific rule here, but they've left a lot up to chance still. Like, they haven't actually solidified anything.
There are so many layers to all of this, Tom, because you could go in many different directions with this story. First of all, you've got the whole Colin Kaepernick situation here, where he is filing a grievance case against the National Football League, alleging that all 32 owners colluded against him to keep him out of the NFL. You got Eric Reed with his grievance case as well. You've got the president on Twitter calling out the NFL. A lot of people are, Tom, boycotting the National Football League right now because of the national anthem debate. Now, according to Bleacher Report and the reporting there, apparently the NFL owners are basically going off of what they saw back in 2017 and fans boycotting their league and saying, okay, we got to put something into legislation now. Something needs to be cemented because A, we need some sort of structure. B, we need the players to know what the consequences are if they do kneel during the national anthem. And C, we need the president giving us big-time support. Because why, Tom? What teams are in President Trump country? Dallas Cowboys.
A lot of them.
Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals. You think about the Rust Belt. You think about the Southeast as well, Tom. A lot of big-time fan bases, such as the teams that I've listed, are big-time President Trump supporters.
And I agree with that, and I think that is kind of one of the more driving fears here from the NFL and why they felt the need to have a national anthem policy. It's worked fine for every other major sport league. MLB, NHL, NBA, they haven't had the same issue that the NFL has. A, I think it's because it's the sport in America. I think that's a big factor there. The other thing is that you can rile up the president's fan base if you're President Trump and get people to bail on the NFL, which we've seen happen. I mean, we've seen that. We saw it happen last year after the president's comments. That's kind of the unfortunate reality of when you merge sports and politics together. Now, I don't take as big of an issue with that as others do, but it's definitely a concern for the NFL, and I think in the end they would prefer to more or less stick to football.
I don't want to go too into the weeds in terms of the politics here surrounding the president because, of course, he does have that ongoing Russia investigation and all that, and the president would want nothing more than to take to Twitter and distract from that and talk about this national anthem debate, right? So that's why, he has been very unprecedented with the way in which he has responded to public issues. We have never seen something like this before from a president. And so the NFL owners are essentially, Tom, leaving nothing to chance.
And yet they are, I think, though.
You do.
Like, I don't think, unfortunately, this is really going to take care of all the issues going on behind the scenes with the NFL. I don't think it's going to take care of, oh, yeah, now we're not going to have any more anthem issues. I mean, we've already seen some players criticize it. We've already seen one owner say, yeah, I'm going to pay my players fines. Like, I think that you would definitely like to not ever have to worry about this. I don't think that anyone would say, yeah, I like to have to worry about the anthem. I like to have to discuss it. We would prefer to not discuss it, but that's the reality of the NFL today, is that this is an important issue for the players. It's an important issue overall. Has to be discussed. So I don't think that, I think the NFL left this with their announcement, hey, this is it, and now it's done. No more problems. I don't think that's actually the case, though.
Tom, I have argued many times on my morning talk show how important it is to get all of these different sides and areas of support together in a conference room and have some sort of long-term dialogue. And here is mistake number one with the NFL, Tom. They didn't bring in the NFLPA in these discussions.
That was a big mistake.
That was a big, fat mistake, and now it is driving a big-time chasm between the NFL and the NFLPA that could be beyond repair, at least for the 2018 season. But back to my original point, you got to get representatives of the NFL, of the NFLPA, of Colin Kaepernick's camp, of President Trump's camp. Heck, the president himself should be calling all of these different factors of these different support areas into the White House, for crying out loud, to have some sort of dialogue, to get some sort of compromise. And the NFL used the word compromise today, Tom. That was not a compromise because not all sides were brought in to discuss.
It is a little tricky because I do feel bad for the NFL overall because this is not what they want. This is not what they want to deal with. And I will say this as well, just from a player's perspective, they're going to see this report. They're going to see this and see that, oh, the NFL is scared of the president who called us sons of bees earlier this year. That's not going to help bring the NFL and the NFLPA together. It's just going to kind of drive them further apart. So unfortunately, I don't think this is an issue that's going to go away in the near future, Cam. I still think you're going to have players going out and protesting the NFL or protesting during the national anthem, maybe even outright protesting what the president has said in the past, which we've seen happen before. Protesting just the NFL's decision here overall. I don't think this is going to go away quite yet.
All right, so the new policy that perhaps the NFL owners put out because they're fearful of the president goes as follows. If you are on the field during the national anthem, you have to be standing. If you are kneeling, that team will be fined. Now, you can remain in the locker room and do whatever you well please. So that's kind of the quote-unquote compromise. Now, teams can have their own rules if they fit along with the NFL's. Of course, Roger Goodell can give appropriate discipline to those who do not stand, but a fine will be imposed to the teams should a player kneel while on the field. There's going to be some problems with this, and I can already see it from a mile away.
There very much are going to be issues here, and I think that the compromise came from NFL owners arguing on behalf of their players. For example, Chris Johnson saying he's going to pay for the fines. I don't know if this is ideally what he wanted, but the NFLPA is not happy because now they're not going to do it. And by the way, Chris Long is very much agreeing with this here, where Chris Long, the former Eagles defensive end, says that the fear is of a diminished bottom line. Chris Long is very much agreeing with what Bleacher Report has stated here.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, there is some real logic, evidence, however you want to put it, behind this theory here that the NFL is terrified, of the president. And so we'll see if Trump actually reacts to this report. We know the president really likes to comment on what is put out there by the media. Usually it's by CNN or Fox News or anything like that. So maybe he actually comments on a sports report, which would be a change for once. And we'll see if that actually happens. But we do expect, or at least I expect, Tom, the president, to react in some way to this new policy put out there by the NFL. So we'll see what happens. That is the developing report right now from Mike Freeman. Tom, this...
Who I can't follow on Twitter.
Yeah, this is day one, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're already getting stuff like this.
So this might, again, I don't think this is going to be over. I think this is going to continue to be an issue going forward for the NFL. And just overall, I just think that they had hoped this would take care of it. But for whatever reason, the NFL, more than any other league, continues to have issues handling this and not having it be an issue that we have to talk about all the time. I don't think this solution is really going to be a long-term solution for them.